Now, this is something that I talked about yesterday that I'm going to talk about again, just because this is something close to home, and I want to make sure that I have a separate video for this that is reasonable and a little bit more withstandable without terrible audio. Now, this is something that I've heard about. My fiance is actually very concerned about this. There's a big thing about this, and this could actually even tie into the chemtrail thing. Who knows? Who knows? If they have been dropping a bunch of chemicals from the sky, I mean, there's this thing called gravity. It's all going to come down eventually. So if it's all these heavy metals and experimental aerosols and stuff that end up dissipating or getting heavy with the rain, and they come down, it's all going to go to the soil, grow in plants. Animals are going to eat it. It's going to go everywhere. It's going to go to the groundwater. Who knows? Okay, off of the conspiracy kick and on to this actual article for something that's really plaguing us and actually affecting our lives. This is the Knox County Village Soup. I haven't been on this page in a long time, and they actually do a lot of reasonable, decent reporting. Forever Chemical. Risk identified throughout Maine. The Department of Environmental Protection will test for PFAS contamination at hundreds of licensed sludge and septic disposal sites across the state, but some people aren't waiting. The Maine Department of Environmental Protection has begun hunting for so-called forever chemicals at hundreds of licensed sludge dispersal sites across Maine, but it will take years to work through the ever-changing list of more than 700 properties. And these are things that they're transfer stations and dumps and everything everywhere. They're everywhere. Almost every town has their own center. A team of chemists, geologists, engineers, techs must investigate each location, starting off with the drinking well nearest to the fields where the sludge and septic tank, sewage, or industrial waste is applied as fertilizer. If unsafe levels of forever chemicals are found, the testing area expands. We've got a long road ahead of us, said the DEP's Deputy Director for Bureau of Remediation of Waste Management, and not all of the licenses were put to use. But some of the records go back to the 1970s. Some places received sludge from multiple sources. It's going to take time. The agency has prioritized a list based on the type amount of sludge spread at the site, and its proximity to housing. If the said, no idea what that name is. About 50 sites in 34 towns fall into this highest risk category, she said. To date, DEP has begun investigating about half of these high-risk cases. Some people who don't want to wait are hiring private labs as far away as California, Washington State. You know, California is going to tell you that fucking breathing the air is bad for you and that existing is going to kill you. That's all they care about. Everything causes cancer. Existing causes cancer to California. It doesn't matter what you say. Washington State and Florida to test their soil and well water for unsafe levels of PFAS, a group of long-lasting man-made chemicals used in common household products in industrial settings. As the result came back over Maine's PFAS limit, DEP will reimburse homeowners so long as they can live near one of the 700 sludge dispersal sites included on this map. Residential PFAS testing could run from $250 to $500, depending on the kind of testing done. There are no labs in Maine with the equipment, certification, and trained staff required for the PFAS. The nearest one of the DEP's list is 14 certified labs. Of 14 certified labs is Absolute Resources Association in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which really not far away at all. We share a border. It's right there. There's actually a lot of people that don't even know where Maine is, so if you must know, it's the furthest top right corner of the United States, right next to Canada. You're welcome. The state itself has had to send some of its trickier samples to Canada for Canada testing. Absolute has been in business for almost 30 years, but it didn't open the PFAS testing division until 2 years ago today, partly because of the increased demand associated with growing public awareness of the chemicals, but also because PFAS testing is uniquely high startup costs, according to the partner Cliff Chase. Now, it goes on to say some of the places where you can take it, people are trying to take routines for testing, and we've actually had some statements by the wildlife and game fisheries around here, fisheries and wildlife, whatever you want to call it, about deer this past year. If you get a deer within a certain county of Maine, we're talking about the statement that was released was only 10 miles away from where I live right now, not very far away. If you got a deer anywhere within the area around here in the past hunting season, you are not allowed to eat it, because there's very high chances of it having these chemicals inside of it because of whatever reason. And you get a free hunting license next year, or free permit next year for tags to fill for more deer, because your deer is contaminated. But the newer studies that they were doing found out that these deer's babies are also contaminated, and a lot of the ground soil is contaminated, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. Like, the more we found something that, oh shit, well, something's actually affecting us, let's look into it. And they start looking into it, and they notice it's everywhere. It's in the groundwater, it's in people's well water, everywhere. It's bad. It's just really bad. And we already knew about things like this happening. There were people actually talking about this for a while, saying, hey, if you do this, this is going to happen. And well, now we're being affected by it, and it's happening. And a lot of awareness is being raised about it, but even this being reported yesterday, I haven't seen that many people talking about it. And we just kind of stumbled onto it and was like, whoa, this is really interesting. Something to really look at. Yeah. My fiance was actually really worried about this. She's super into nature and wildlife, and she really cares about the environment around us.